Hi, I'm Lauren and welcome back to my craft room. Today is a new Whimsy stamps release day and I'm so excited to share with you a fun project using some of the new products. I have this adorable Slimline card using the new Slimline Cloud die and this really cute unicorn kisses unicorn. I hope you enjoy this tutorial and that you'll check out some of the new products. I have everything linked down below. Here are the supplies I'm going to be using: the new Slimline Cloud die and our Unicorn Kisses stamp set. I have cut it out of some white cardstock, and I also cut out a piece of paper out of the Bristol smooth cardstock as I am going to be doing some ink blending with distress oxides. This paper was cut to be slightly smaller than a Slimline card base. The typical size I do is 3.5 by 8.5, so this paper is 3.25 by 8.25, so it will fit perfectly behind the new Cloud Slimline die. Now I am starting with orange on the bottom. As you can see, I started with yellow and realized that orange is probably better where my sun will be shining because I'm making kind of a, not too sunset-like, but a sunset-like, maybe sunrise. We'll say a sunrise set background. So I wanted to do my orange colors on the bottom and then move into yellow, and that will then turn into a blue sky. So I have now finished with my orange and yellow, and now I'm going to go in with my blue. And I don't really want to blend my blue and yellow together. I'm a little nervous about totally just ruining my brushes. These are now fancy brushes. I don't have as cheap of brushes anymore. So I'm using my coffee filter that I use to help keep fingerprints off my paper, and I realized that I made this really bold line across, which is even worse than ruining my brushes because I don't want this weird line. So I have a smaller brush that I use for any type of color. I just wash it more often than my larger brushes, and I use that just to blend that line together, and it came out much smoother. There's a much smoother transition between the yellow and the light blue. I topped it off with a little bit of darker blue to give my sky a little more depth, and I am using my water spritzer to activate some of that oxide and to give it a fun watercolored look background. Once that was dry, I'm going to adhere it to my Kraft paper card base, which again is 3.5 by 8.25, and I am gluing that directly down with some wet glue. And now I want to pop up my cloud border. There is a 1/4 inch all the way around, which is perfect for my 1/4 inch foam tape. So I am going to add foam tape all around the border here as well as behind the clouds, peel off that release paper, and layer it onto my card background. I'm using my MISTI just to line up and make sure that it is placed perfectly onto the card. I noticed that my card base is actually a little bit larger, so I'm just using my guillotine trimmer to trim down some of that card base. And now that my background is all done, I'm going to move on to my stamped images. I am using this big, beautiful unicorn from the new Unicorn Kisses stamp set. I just think she is the cutest. I love that it's a really large image and that it will take up most of my card. It really makes the statement piece for my card that I'm making today. So I have stamped it in some alcohol marker friendly ink, and I am going to be using my Spectrum Noir alcohol markers. I want my unicorn to be white, so I am using Ice Gray 2 just to add in shadows all over the areas that are going to be white for my unicorn. And then I'm just using a blender marker to color all of that out. Now it's going to look like it's gray and kind of wet looking, but as this colorless blender dries, it will fade out and she will look like a white unicorn with some really light gray shadows. For the ears, I'm alternating between my apricot and linen colors just to give her ears a nice pink, kind of peachy inside. And then I am going to work on her hooves. Now I'm using the darker of the ice grays. I'm using IG10 and IG6 to color in those hooves. And the little heart inside of her back feet are my magenta colors. I am using MG4 and MG2 to color those in. For the front hooves, I am again using my IG10 and IG6, and the little highlight on her hooves, I use 6 and 2 to color those in. Now I really like those magenta colors, so I am going to use those again for her unicorn horn as well as her eyelids. I thought having a little bit of pink right there on her eyelids would be really cute. And then for her eyes, I'm using TB1 just to outline the eyes to kind of give it a kind of a bluishy color. That way her eyes aren't just like the stark white. So after I am done coloring in the unicorn horn, I decide to use purple for her mane and tail. So I am going to bring in my PVs to color those in. I am using PV3 and PV2, alternating between the two colors to create a nice blend of her purple mane and tail. I'm also going to use those magenta colors for her wings. I thought they would look really cute as well, to have some pink wings and just to bring all those colors together. And then I'm going to use my Wink of Stella with clear. It's just a kind of a glitter shimmer pen and cover all of her white fur. And then use my white gel pen to add some accents to the other parts of the image. Now I'm going to cut her out using my scan and cut, but there is this one little spot in between her wing and her tail and one of her back legs that doesn't get cut out. So I am just using a precision craft knife and cutting it out so there is an opening there as well and not just a big white space. I'm not really sure how I'm going to place her on my card yet at this point, and I wanted to make sure if there was color showing behind her that it would also shine through that opening between her leg, wing, and tail. So I'm playing around with my placement and I settle on putting her on top of the largest cloud in the middle, and then I am going to cut out a sentiment strip after I glue her down, and that way I would have room underneath her for a sentiment. I'm using some foam tape because this is what I use to pop up my cloud die, and then some wet glue anywhere where the unicorn will be touching the clouds and layer that right on. Now I used a quick strip. I love this die set for sentiments, and I'm going to use the sentiment Magical Wishes. This is a really cute set because there's also unicorn kisses. It could have been a really cute two-lined sentiment, but I went with this one sentiment, and I am gluing the quick strip onto some of the clouds. I have these jewels in my stash, and I am just going to pick out some blue and yellow jewels to layer around on the card, and also orange, so it really blends in with the background that I distressed with my oxides. Using my jewel picker and some wet glue, I'm just going to adhere those down, and then I wanted to add some Stardust Stickles to all of the tops of the clouds just to add a little bit more shimmer and to give more depth to my clouds on my card. Here is the final card. I just think she's so cute, and I love this new cloud die set. I hope you enjoyed this process. Here is a final look of the card. You can find links down to all the supplies I used down below in the description box. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please hit that like button, and if you're new here and enjoyed this content, I really hope you'll hit subscribe. Thank you again, and have a great day.